Hi, this is a piano tutorial for the song Take Heart by the band Hillsong United, originally recorded in the key of B. I've actually transposed it up to play it in the key of C, but it's still, it's C chords, but it's still in the key of B, if that makes sense. You can do that by going into your function key on your keyboard, going to transpose, and then selecting -1. Then you can play key of C chords, but it will still be in the key of B. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm just going to play the intro of this song and show you one thing that you can do if you don't have a guitar player. You can play this on the piano, and I think it sounds really nice. Before we get started, just as a reminder, we have more resources and tutorials on pursuegod.org/worship, and also please subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much. So to start out with, at the beginning, let's start with our minor in our left hand, and you're kind of doing this rocking thing back and forth. So I'm basically hanging around the C chord in the right hand, and I'm playing those bass notes in the left hand. And you'll notice that I'm kind of playing this left hand kind of So you'll notice that I'm going back and forth playing it very percussively. That's basically what they do with the picking pattern with the guitar, but played on piano. So just keep that in mind. If you want to use that for the intro, you can. You can also use that throughout the song as well. The one thing I'd recommend, though, is not playing that if the guitar player is doing that. I think it would just be too busy in the song. So use your discretion. If the guitar player is not doing that, or if you don't have a guitar player, consider doing that yourself. I'm going to jump into later in the song because there's actually not a lot going on in the song until the bridge. You can just play basic chords on the chorus, and I can show you what that would look like if you do, but I recommend just kind of keep it real simple until you get to the bridge. So I'll jump into a chorus leading up to the bridge, and we'll go from there. So just to recap a few of the things that I was doing there, there's a few things that was going on in that pattern. So at the beginning of that instrumental, I was basically just playing it very simply in the right hand. I was just playing some inversions in the right hand. So with that A minor in the left, it sounds good to play that C and that E in the right hand. Then when you play that F in the bass, you can play that F in the left hand. And go back to the E in the right hand. You can play a G and a B there in the right hand. So back to that C and that E in the right hand. C and the F in the right hand. C and the E in the right hand. That B and the G in the right hand. Now the thing here is you just don't want it to get too busy too quickly. So I kind of played lightly. And kind of swell it in. In the recording, you can actually hear them kind of playing that high octave there, but it's not real consistent. And so I like to keep it more consistent by just playing it down low. You can try that later, earlier in the song, or throughout the whole way if you want to play that high octave there. I like playing it low, and then you notice that I actually switched it up to the high part about halfway through. And so you can do that as well. And I think simple is usually better. And so I just basically played a similar pattern for both of those. You can play that octave in the right hand, which I also think sounds good. And because you're playing in the key of C, you can play that C octave through all those left hand progressions and it will sound great. That's another option that you could do. Now at the very end of the song, we go to those octaves, and I think that just adds some kind of epicness to the song. I don't really have another word for it. Just it really heightens the dynamic of the song. And so you can kind of create that with octaves. Now, just be mindful that you have to, watch very carefully what you're playing, because if you mess it up, that's not a great example. These all sound pretty good, but in some keys you could hit a wrong note and it would sound really bad. So just be aware of what you're playing. Now, I did double up on the last time through, and this is what that sounded like. And so basically you're just playing thirds apart from each other. So if you're playing a C in the left, you can play the E of a C chord. You can play that second note in the C chord there in the right hand. And then some notes I'll play the same, like that F I think sounds good to play the same. And that E as well. But then when I get to the G, I do another third separation. That B in the right hand, and that's just a G chord, playing that B in the right hand, and then that A in the left, and the C in the right. So that's something else that you can consider doing, just to kind of layer in dynamics with those octaves and change things up a little bit. So that's what I did halfway through the ending of the song, just to give it some different nuances and just some new dynamics. So always be thinking about that as a piano player. How can I create new dynamics to keep things interesting without it being too busy? So those are a few ideas for you. Hopefully that's helpful, and looking forward to seeing you here next time.